7 in 10 people have not used their SkillsFuture Credit since the scheme was started in 2015. Does DPM Heng think that it will be useful to expand the use of the SkillsFuture Credit beyond course subsidies and give all students and workers more opportunities for hands-on practice with deep tech tools like AI?
So my question is, in light of the wrenching changes that AI will usher in, how will the government ensure that SkillsFuture will actually be able to increase its take-up rate and fulfill the objectives of reskilling that it was meant to accomplish? Or is it revealing perhaps that there is a continued skepticism among our workers of the benefits of the scheme?
So I hope that Associate Professor Jamus Lim is not a pessimist, because you say about the take-up rate is low and so on. Now, you can look at it as a glass half empty or glass half full.
It's only 3 in 10 have used their SkillsFuture credits, and so the glass is not even half full in that respect.
As for our participation in various suggestions for how we can improve it, of course, I have made suggestions within the context of this House, but if we receive invitations from the various ministries for us or any of my Workers' Party colleagues to participate in these kinds of discussions, we will be more than happy to do so.
Professor Jamus Lim, Associate Professor Jamus Lim, you don't need an invitation. You are free to provide your suggestion. After all, aren't you from the Workers' Party?
So I thank DPM for his speech. I'd like to ask some clarifications. The DPM said that AI can be our augmented intelligence and that we should think hard about how jobs will be changed with automation and AI. And he said that we need to reskill our workers to prepare for AI. However, given that 7 in 10 people have not used their SkillsFuture Credit since the scheme was started in 2015, does DPM Heng think that it will be useful to expand the use of the SkillsFuture Credit beyond course subsidies and give all students and workers more opportunities for hands-on practice with deep tech tools like AI? And this could give results by helping them to boost their productivity at work, for example, summarizing long documents or drafting professional emails and reports.
The question, in the first place, there are already a range of courses. And two, as I said, when we look at the industry transformation and the workers' need, what is very important is to ensure that the training and the utilization of the skills are done in tandem. It is very good that workers are taking ownership of this training to upgrade themselves, but the impact will be even greater if they work together with the companies, which is why I mentioned in my example of how NTUC is working with the company to do obstacle road mapping, to do transformation, and in tandem work on the design of jobs and the reskilling of workforce. And it's not just in AI. It is in every domain of the technology that we want to make use of, that we want a society which is a lot more digitalized. If you remember even our digital payment system, during COVID, we rolled out the CDC voucher scheme, which the mayors came up with the idea. And then later on, we moved into a digital vouchers. And huge efforts were put in by our agencies to train our hawkers to install these devices, to learn how to use it. In fact, just last evening, I was talking to a group of my residents during the MPS about what they were doing and how they were learning to use this. And everyone expressed appreciation. So our approach, whether it's the use of AI, the use of mRNA technology, the use of simple digitalization tool, has to be an inclusive one. That we look at what needs to be done and deploy the right tool for the right task, and not just AI itself. Secondly, one other very important thing you must bear in mind is that AI is a very rapidly developing field, and is something which our researchers are working hard on to look at the different techniques that AI are using. It's not just Gen AI, but a whole range of different AI systems that are being used, and how that can be used in conjunction with our needs. So understanding what the real needs are and what it can serve, what are the safeguards that we need to put in place to ensure its proper use, and how to put this together in a way that advances not just the research and development work, but also the reskilling of workers, has to be done in an integrated way and not in bits and pieces.
Thank you, Speaker. I appreciate DPM Heng's discussion of the importance of SkillsFuture. And in principle, I do not disagree with the potential benefits of the scheme. Yet, as my honourable friend has shared, statistics reveal that in recent times, take-up remains low. And in fact, many have yet to exhaust their SkillsFuture credits, even as the government has proposed that we increase them. Perhaps what is even more damning is that older workers, exactly the group that we hope will take on this task of reskilling, display significantly lower take-up rates. So my question is, in light of the wrenching changes that AI will usher in, how will the government ensure that SkillsFuture will actually be able to increase its take-up rate and fulfill the objectives of reskilling that it was meant to accomplish? Or is it revealing perhaps that there is a continued skepticism among our workers of the benefits of the scheme?
DPM Heng.
Speaker, sir, I hope that Associate Professor Jamus Lim is not a pessimist, because you say about the take-up rate is low and so on. Now, you can look at it as a glass half empty or glass half full. And the fact that, I think, name me a country which has started such an extensive SkillsFuture framework. Name me a country which has got such, I was education minister for 5 years, where our students have done so well, and where now our older workers are working hard, to learn new skills. Name me a country where the National Trade Union Congress is not only accepting change, but embracing change and be a partner for change in working on company training committee, in working with companies to do not just training, but surprisingly, OPSTEC road mapping, operations and technology road mapping. They were trained by researchers from A-Star to look at how companies can adopt technology, and in the process of adopting technology, how jobs can be redesigned, reskilled, so that workers can take on better jobs. And with this huge amount of SkillsFuture, I think Education Minister will speak more on this, and Minister for Manpower will speak more on this later, about the range of courses. So we will have to take a different approach for different groups of workers, and in that, for those who are able to go and take ownership and do the courses on their own, who wants to change their job, there's a range of options available. There are many companies for which they are taking action to redesign their workflow. And I've been working very closely with the Singapore Business Federation. And that's why I mentioned earlier that the Singapore Business Federation has also set up an AFA, an Alliance for Action, on business leadership development. I've met the team who are doing this, and in fact, they're making very good progress. So we got to upskill everybody at all levels, including the CEOs of companies, to embrace this change. So it is very good, in my view, that we are able to achieve this progress over time. And in fact, instead of saying that, I am skeptical, I am pessimistic, we should, if you have good suggestions on how we can do this better, play a constructive role, because with your professorship, you would know this well, right? Play a constructive role, be part of the team. We have so many members of the academia who are working with us and giving us excellent ideas. So, if you have great suggestions, I'm open to considering. Yeah.
Thank the DPM for responding to my question, but perhaps I wasn't clear enough in my question. I wasn't asking about training, about more training. My point was that training has its limits, and the adoption of SkillsFuture Credit is nowhere as much as what we would have hoped for. It's only 3 in 10 have used their SkillsFuture credits, and so the glass is not even half full in that respect. To acquire skills, workers need hands-on practice, which is why I'm calling for an expansion of the use of SkillsFuture Credit to use it for perhaps subsidies for the use of AI tools so that they can increase their productivity and get some hands-on experience.
DPM Heng.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Gerald Giam, Member Mr. Gerald Giam's question is, whether it can be expanded for other areas in a more appropriate way. Now, this is certainly an area which the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Manpower will be happy to consider if you have specific good suggestions about exactly how it can be used. But I have tried to sketch out what different people are doing right? From the company training committee of the NTUC to what the IHLs are doing. I suggested to all members earlier that take a look at the websites of our universities, polytechnics and universities, and you can see the range of courses that people can undertake. And with the SkillsFuture Level Up program, there are even more courses that they can undertake. But for the workers that need help, that need support, that need encouragement, we should all do our best to encourage them. And that is why the WSG and SSG has been mounting lots of programs to reach out to residents. Not only in trying to get a job, but also when residents are asking what are the courses we can do. I myself have participated in many of those outreach programs, and I must say that the response of many of our workers, including senior ones, is very encouraging. So you're right that training is not everything. It is one aspect of it. You need a collective effort, including by the managers and the owners of businesses to say, I'm going to take training seriously, but more importantly, not just training for its own sake, but how training can be translated into better job performance, and therefore we can have productivity growth, and I can reward my workers better.
Just a quick clarification on my part. I absolutely agree that the SkillsFuture is a good program in principle, and the challenge that I would put to the government is how to ensure that it fulfills its original incentives. As for our participation in various suggestions for how we can improve it. Of course, I have made suggestions within the context of this House, but if we receive invitations from the various ministries for us or any of my Workers' Party colleagues to participate in these kinds of discussions, we would be more than happy to do so.
DPM Heng.
Well, Professor Jamus Lim, Associate Professor Jamus Lim, you don't need an invitation. You are free to provide your suggestion. After all, aren't you from the Workers' Party? And by the way, let me make it clear that I've heard MPs on both aisles speaking about workers, and we have a very strong presence of our union MPs here, and they'll be speaking even more on this. So we all care about Singaporeans, and we want to do the best for them. So you are welcome to give me your ideas if you have very specific ones. But let me say that I would have to consider it together with all the other good ideas. Yeah. But good ideas are always welcome, and I'm just waiting for them.